All right, so this is another bad movie review. This is going to be on Ride Along, starring Ice Cube and Kevin Hart. It's directed by Tim Story. It's from 2014. Pretty much ever since this came out, because I saw it not too long after it came out. I've been like, yeah, this movie's it's annoying, mainly Kevin Hart. It's unfunny, and yeah, it's largely a waste of time. So it's on Netflix. This and the second one. We are going to be doing the second one pretty soon. And I watched it yesterday, and I feel around the same. It's not funny, and I find Kevin Hart and his character, right, just completely annoying. So, yeah, as I'm watching it, I was like, yeah, I'm just ready for this to end, and Kevin Hart's really getting on my nerves. So in this, Ben, played by Kevin Hart, he's dating Angela, played by Tika Sumter. He wants to marry her, but her brother, James, played by Ice Cube, this hard ass, like tough cop, right? He's one of those. It's a cliche, right? He's the cop that like will cause all types of collateral damage and just does whatever to get the person he's going after, things like that. The lieutenant is getting on to him. Hey, you gotta stop doing what you're doing. um, him being the this tough cop, right? He doesn't like Ben, and he's not giving Ben his blessing. Ben is a gamer, right? He's scared of everything. Definitely not the kind of guy that James would want for his sister. Doesn't think he can protect her. But Ben, right? He's a security guard working at high school, right? And the kids don't even respect him. But he does finally get accepted in the police academy. So he's thinking, okay, I can, impress James and get James's favor, get his blessing now that I've been accepted in the police academy. But James isn't going for it. James is like, look, I'm gonna take you on a ride along, and if over the course of that time you prove yourself to me, then you'll have my blessing. But he's thinking the whole time like I'm just gonna scare him to the point where he doesn't want to be a cop anymore, and potentially doesn't even want to be with my sister anymore.
You want to marry my sister? Show me you worthy of her, and prove to me you got what it takes.
How, how do you want me to do that? I don't get it.
Tomorrow, I'm gonna take you on a ride along.
While that's happening, James is going after this boss, Omar. Right, he's a boss. He runs a lot of things from the shadows. Right, nobody knows what he looks like. Anybody who's seen him, he's killed him, and he's been going after this guy for years. I believe it was 3 years, and he hasn't been able to catch him. And he's just really, really obsessed with getting Omar. So the movie starts with him doing this undercover stuff with some Serbians. They're moving some stuff, and the idea is like, okay, if they're doing stuff here and Omar hasn't killed them, then they must be doing stuff with Omar. They must have a deal with him. So he's thinking, okay, if I follow up on the Serbians, then maybe I could potentially find Omar. So, like I said, this movie's not funny. But let's talk about the stuff that I did actually find funny in this. So, there is this thing in the movie, right? It's called a 126. Right? It's like the way it's explained, it doesn't really make sense, or at least it's confusing to me. Um, a 126 is a call that police officers don't want to actually go to, right? And so they send rookies there, like hazing. And so there was actually a situation that James set up with like a person that he knows. And so he set that whole thing up and everything like that. And then right after that, Ben finds out that that was all set up. So then at the next place they go to, Ben thinks that it's all it's all fake, just like the thing that just happened. And so he's like yelling at the guy. Like they actually have it's at a strip club, they got guns on him and stuff like that. He almost gets shot. And he's like going off on the people and stuff like that. Because he's thinking that this situation was fake. And I actually thought that was fun.
I don't want to do that. Why? Why would I do that, man? Why do that? We can handle this right here, right now. One winner, one loser. Let's get to shooting. You see me? Huh? You see me? Shoot!
Ben, I'm gonna do this, fool!
Do me!
There's a point where they're interrogating someone. The context around that is ridiculous. It's very stupid. We'll get to that. But there's a point where it starts off with it's James being the bad cop and Ben being good cop, being like, "Hey man, this guy's crazy, whatever." Then Ben accidentally shoots this guy. This guy's like, "Oh, you shot me, whatever." And they switch roles where James is like, "Oh man, this guy's crazy or whatever," and Ben's playing the bad cop. I actually thought that was good. That's probably the best moment between these two, between Ben and James, where I was like, okay, they're actually kind of working here. There's this really ridiculous scene, which we'll get back to, where Ben is pretending to be Omar, and there's a point where one of Omar's guys, he's like, oh, well, I thought Omar was 6 foot something, or whatever, and he ends up shooting the guy in the leg, and then he's like, how tall is Omar now? I was like, okay, that was good, that was good, and it's actually the only time where it's actually believable that he's potentially Omar. Also, the performances by everybody but our leads. Ice Cube is trying too little, and Kevin Hart is trying too much. But as far as everybody else, I thought they were good. Like Tika Sumter as Angela, I thought she was good. Her and Kevin Hart don't really have chemistry, but that's because of the writing. Then you have John Leguizamo, he plays Santiago, and Brian Kalin, he plays Miggs. Those are the two cops that James is working with to take down Omar. They're kind of like working as a team, and I thought they were good. And then the best performance and best character is Omar, right? When we finally see him, played by Lawrence Fishburne. Man, this guy is so good. Right? Lawrence Fishburne is so good. It's like, man, you are way too good to be in this. I mean, he's got charisma and everything. The guy's a gangster. Like you could really see how he's been running things like he's been doing. I mean, he's really, really good. And there's a point where towards the end, right, he's gone after Angela, so he has Angela, he's trying to get away. And he's like, girl, bring your narrow behind on. I'm like, whoa. Right. There's a point where he's going back and forth with James. He's like, oh, now you got some act right. I'm like, God damn, this guy. I mean, he's so fun to watch. He was so entertaining. I was like, man, this movie would automatically elevate itself if he would have popped up periodically throughout the movie because there's so much BS going on. It feels like whenever it goes back to the plot of taking out Omar, it's like, oh yeah, that's right, that's in this movie. There's a villain we're supposed to be going after. But man, he definitely that's such a waste for him to only be right like towards the end of the movie. I was like, come on, what are we doing? Right? I mean, it didn't even make sense really, right, for him to like reveal himself in this, like, or at least I didn't understand it. It's talking about instead of him moving stuff. I guess he's selling it. They're trying to like enterprise whatever they're doing so he can come out of the shadows. I didn't understand that. All right, that's all the positives. Let's talk about Ice Cube and Kevin Hart. Let's start off with Ice Cube. The movie starts off with him. He's undercover with these Serbians. He's acting like he's going to move some stuff for him. I was thinking to myself, if he's this cop that's like causing all this collateral damage, and I'm sure he's made a name for himself, right? And he knows he's a loose cannon. He should not be going undercover. It should have been one of the other guys. But whatever. He he's supposed to be this tough guy, right? This hard ass. And Ice Cube is giving so little emotion like he usually does in movies that I just don't I couldn't buy it, right? It felt phony to me, right? When he was giving these lines and everything. I was like, man, could you give just a little bit more so I can believe this? Like his delivery just really didn't work for me.
You thought I was crazy? No, baby, I'm nuts. These Serbs are dealing more than just passports. The fact that they still alive lets me know they got something Omar wants.
Then we have Kevin Hart. So Kevin Hart, it's a difficult thing here because the writing of this movie is terrible, and his character is terrible, right? So he does feel like he has to really play it up, right? A lot of the comedy comes from him. Obviously, he's a comedian, so they're really laying things on his shoulders to be funny. Definitely not Ice Cube, and it just falls flat and comes off as too much. I mean, this character is a man child, right? He sits around, playing video games. His girlfriend has to finally tell him, like, "Hey, don't you have to get up and get to work?" Right? He talks to his girlfriend, and he like sits up on the counter and talks to her like a kid. Like he might as well have been kicking his feet. Like, it is crazy. There's a point where he comes down the stairs after talking to Angela to go with James, and he like jumps up and kicks his foot out. Kick move. Right, right? Like a child. That's something a child would do. right? That's because his video game he plays, there's a you can kick people, I guess, in the game, and so he goes kick move whenever he does that in the game. I was like, man, this is a child, right? Like I said, he's a security guard at a high school. The high schoolers don't even respect him. He has to give this bullshit ass speech to get a kid from ditching school. He can't shoot a gun. He's terrible at interrogation. Right, he shoots someone on accident. Right, the whole past with him and James, they keep bringing it up. He accidentally set James on fire at a barbecue. Right, I mean, just he's terrible. Right, James you know sneaks into Angela's house and they come home and it's dark and everything, and he starts throwing things and stuff like that, but then knocks himself out. It's like, yeah, I fully understand why James wouldn't like him. And the main thing is that he never shuts up. He's just constantly talking, talking and talking and talking. I'm like, man, I'm supposed to like this character. I'm supposed to root for this character to like win over James and gain his blessing because I'm not at all. The movie, it has the plot of going after Omar and all these other things, but it's mainly just them BSing around. It's mainly the ride along aspect of it, right? Where he's with them and they're going and do stuff, and James wants to scare him to the point where he doesn't want to be a cop anymore. And everything I'm seeing makes it seem like he shouldn't be a cop in the first place. So they start off with some bikers, right? They go to talk to some bikers. They're parking in the handicap spot when they shouldn't be, and so Ben goes over there by himself to try to tell him to stop. And they don't listen to him, right? He's this short guy, just kind of to them. And then more bikers show up and surround him. And he decides, oh, I'm just going to, give quotes from training day.
I'm putting cases on all you bitches. You think you gonna do this shit to me? You'll be playing basketball in Pelican Bay. King Kong ain't got shit on me. Oh shit! Yes.
Then James comes up and just grabs him and then just leave. Right? It's like, wow, that felt pointless. Like James isn't even going to tell him, like, hey, by the way, stay out of that spot. I don't want to have to tell you again. No, he just grabs him and leaves. Embarrassment was it, I guess. And then we have something that has to do with the plot, but Ben has to be distracted while it's happening. Um, James goes to talk to this guy Run Flat to get some information on Omar and the Serbians and stuff like that. And so he's roughing this guy up, which James does. He just casually, assaults people and stuff like that to get information. And Ben goes to talk to this kid who's Run Flat's little brother. He's like, give up your brother, give up your brother. And he's not even able to intimidate this little kid. Like this kid is punking him, right? Talking shit to him. Right. And then eventually it's like stranger danger and everybody starts surrounding. I was like, man, like I will admit, like the kid actually is funny. This kid, and this was kind of a funny scene. But I was like, man, I'm supposed to believe this guy's supposed to be a police officer. Like he's going to the police academy and stuff like that. I'm supposed to believe that, like, because I'm not getting that. He's like a complete clown.
Don't start this if you don't want to finish it.
Start what? What you about 310, 311?
Yeah, but you know what I'm gonna do. Grow. What you gonna do? Stretch?
You better give up your brother. Give me your brother.
Danger, danger!
What?
Danger, danger! Danger, danger!
Man, let me fix you up.
I don't wanna touch you there. You wanna see my what? I don't wanna see yours.
He's
I
playing.
wanna see this private.
That's my nephew.
Then we go to the shooting range, and he can't shoot. Right? He can't shoot. He doesn't know even gun etiquette. He's just waving the gun around, and he goes to shoot. He misses every shot. And then he's like, "Oh, I'd be better with a shotgun." He gets the shotgun, right? Obvious setup. He ends up flying across across the room when he shoots the shotgun. I'm like, man, this guy. It's not funny though. It's just like it's just kind of like either it's annoying or it's like, okay, let's just hurry up and get this over with. And then we have the crazy Cody situation where this is where things start to get kind of confusing for me, right? With the whole 126 thing. So they go there, it's like at a store, and this guy, he's throwing things around. He strips down to his underwear, talking about, he's heartbroken, his girl left him or something like that. And he starts wrestling with Ben and things like that. Then eventually James pulls a gun on him and they take him away. It turns out he knows that guy, right? And so James set up that whole thing. I'm like, man, this guy, I guess he really is crazy or whatever. Because why would he even say yes to doing this, right? And potentially get a drunken disorderly or whatever. Like really, he was okay with stripping down to his underwear, throwing things around, breaking a bottle, acting like he's gonna kill Ben. It's like really, he was okay with doing all that. So then Ben, after he's been embarrassed and he feels like he can't do this, which from what I've seen, he really can't. Um, he calls Angela and he's like, "Oh, I can't do this, whatever." And Angela ends up telling him what a 126 is, that it's like things that cops don't want to deal with. They send rookies there to deal with it instead. And also that Crazy Cody is somebody that James knows. So now he's like, okay, so James definitely set that up. At that point, they get to a strip club, right? And like I said, Ben thinks that this is all fake, and he's like yelling things at the guys while they're pointing guns at him and things like that because he doesn't think that there's any actual danger. Now, the 126, it's explained as like things that police don't want to deal with, but these things are still real, right? But then the Crazy Cody thing happens, and that was completely fake. And from after that, Ben thinks that the other situation is fake. It's like it's real it's real messy. Where it's like, okay, is a 126 a real thing that they just don't want to deal with? That's like bullshit, or is it like full on bullshit that a cop just makes up to haze a rookie? I was like, I don't know. That was confusing for me. Ben, even though he's bumbling and embarrassing himself and everything like that, there are points where he ends up getting information, and that's when I'm like, oh yeah, the whole Omar thing is still going on. So when they were at the gun range, when they were shooting and all that, he talks to the lady that's running it, and because he's really into his video game, he memorizes the guns from it, so he recognizes guns and things like that. Turns out, I guess a Serbian brought one of the guns there or something like that. But he also got information from that little brother that he talked to. This is really fucking bad writing. So the little brother said, "Oh, I don't want to give up my brother because he just came back, and I don't want him to go again, or something like that." But Run Flat hasn't been in jail for 2 years, so that's how James knows. Oh, he was talking about his other brother who does have connections to Omar, and apparently, he escaped custody or something and hasn't been seen since. And I'm like, really?
The kid's got another brother that drove for Omar. All right? He escaped custody, left town. Now, no way he'd risk coming back unless he had to be.
Oh, what? Hey, actually, he had another brother. It's just like it's such bad contrived writing to me. And then when they go to talk to the guy to get information, he's at the place that they got him at before. He's like, yeah, he hid there on purpose because nobody would expect him to go back to the place that he had been captured at before. And it's like, okay, so if you'd have gone after this guy already, you could have got this information way earlier. It's like, what are we doing? So that's when Ben accidentally shoots him, and they end up giving information. There's a deal going on at a warehouse with the Serbians and Omar's guys, stuff like that. So they end up going there, and then James meets up with Santiago and Miggs, meets up with them there, and he's like, "Where's the backup?" And they're like, "Oh, the backup's coming, whatever." So they go in. Turns out Santiago and Miggs, they're dirty. They've been paid off by Omar, so they're working for him. So there will be no backup, and so what's it called? James ends up getting tied up. Ben was outside, so James gets tied up and everything inside the warehouse with the Serbians there and everything, and Ben's outside. So he comes in and starts pretending to be Omar so he could save James. And I said there was that one part of it that I liked, but for the most part, this is a farce. Like I get that it's a a comedy, but like, come on now, right? Like nobody's seen him. Okay, right? He's running things from the shadows, right? People think he's like a ghost, but really, nobody's even heard his voice? How does he communicate with the people who work for him? How's he running things when nobody's even heard his voice? And Omar, the real Omar, comes in and they're like trying to figure out which one is the real one and which one that they should kill. It's just like it's nonsense. Especially the way that it plays out is so obvious the way that he's acting. Right? He's like, oh, he's threatening James. Oh, it's gonna be a death by 1,000 cuts. And somebody's like, yeah, go ahead and do it. And he just like barely touches him with the knife. Omar's there now, and they're like, oh, now they definitely know that that's the real Omar. A shootout happens, and they're shooting the Serbian, they're shooting things like that. James obviously is shooting. Ben's not shooting, obviously, but what Ben can do is when they start throwing grenades, he grabs them within 5 seconds and throws it back, and it causes a bunch of explosions. This was set up earlier, where he was playing a game, and I was thinking, why is he talking like this? It just feels phony. Like he's talking to people that he plays with all the time. And he's like, guys, remember when you when somebody throws a grenade, if you pick it up within 5 seconds, you could throw it back at him. I'm like, why is he telling that to them? Shouldn't they know that? And it was just to set this up, right? That he can pick up grenades and throw them back, and be successful in doing so because of his video game experience, and that makes the warehouse just blow up, and everybody dies but our key players here. Migs and Santiago, who I thought were for sure dead until they pop up again when they go after Angela. Um, and then James and Ben, they get out of the explosion. Turns out Ben got shot though, so they have to go to the hospital. And then obviously Omar got out of the warehouse in time. Omar and Santiago they go after Angela. They actually go to Ben's place and tie her up and everything. And the way that James and Ben find out about that, they're at the hospital, is that, and this is something that was set up earlier. I guess Ben has a really good headset, right? Angela just randomly decided she wanted to play the video game. And so, when they come to the door, game's still on, the headset's on, so they hear everything going on in that room. And this happened earlier where she turned off the TV, but I guess didn't turn off the game. And so Ben and her were talking about sexual stuff and things. Turns out the people he plays with, they could hear all that. Ass Face is the main one there, main gaming buddy that gets involved in this. Right, I've done a good amount of gaming. Right, I used to be on Xbox Live back in the day, Call of Duty, stuff like that. I don't remember ever using a headset that's that sensitive that it could pick up full on conversations, people's names, stuff like that. He starts dropping names, yeah, Santiago, and so I'm like, bruh, you hear everything going on in that room from the headset that's just that's just there, right, on the counter or on the couch, wherever it is. It's like, come on. So they get there, there's action happening. The action in this movie is not good, right? You got John Leguizamo and Ice Cube. They're fighting, it's sped up. And then you got Omar tossing, tossing Ben around. So Lawrence Fishburne tossing around Kevin Hart, which actually I kind of like that because I hated Ben and I hated Kevin Hart in this movie, and I loved Omar in this. I was like, okay, that's another good thing for him. He's tossing around this annoying ass fucking character. But yeah, Omar ends up obviously beating Ben and grabbing Angela, and he starts to leave. James stops him. They have a back and forth. And how do you think it all ends? Right, this villain that's been the best part of the movie. Right, I wish he would have been in more of it. All right, it's like, okay, how are you gonna take care of him? Like, what's it gonna be? Ben slides on a car and does kick move and kicks him, and then James shoots him. I guess he had a bulletproof vest on because he's still alive and talking when they put him in the ambulance at the end. So two things. Ben got shot in the leg, was drugged up from when they were in the hospital, and they had to operate on him. And not only did he just get tossed around his place by Omar, but Omar picked him up and slammed him on a glass table to the point where it broke. Right, he was knocked out. So I'm like, okay, really? Like 5 minutes or so afterward, he's just okay, and he's able to slide on a car and kick him, whatever. But then also the kick move thing is just lame. It's just lame. It's like, this is a fucking child, man. Like there's a point where Ice Cube's like, "Oh, I got him from the Boys and Girls Club." And it's like it just kind of feel like that, right? He's like a child, right? He's like a really annoying child, and it's not believable at all. He's gonna become a cop, right? Like anything that he does that helps out James feels like he basically did it on accident or got lucky. And it's just like I'm supposed to believe this guy's gonna become a cop. I'm really supposed to believe that. I'm supposed to believe that he's bumbled his way into getting James' blessing. It's like, what? Really? Okay. And then we have another scene, a final scene where It's been some time, right? Angela's showing off the ring. I guess they're engaged now, and it's to make up for him setting James on fire at that other barbecue, I guess. Where he's like, "Oh, I got this, I got this." He's about to light it, and then obviously he gets like set on fire and he like flies off. So he comes back. It can't just be that. It can't just end on that. He comes back. He has these burns, and he's like, "Oh, no, I think I got second degree burns, but let's just say this third degree burns to be safe." And he's just talking and talking and talking. None of it's funny. I was like, "Okay, hurry up, wrap this up. We're done." If Omar would have been in more of the movie, and they would have toned down Kevin Hart and gave him better material, it would have been good because it's still got writing issues in the plot and things like that. But I would have still probably given it a rental. As is, it's trash. I'm giving it trash. This was a waste of my time, just like when I first saw it. Anyway, that's right along. Like I said, trash, waste of my time, and we're done.